A prominent figure in business circles, Raphael Alvarado, aged around 35, was not only affluent but also a sought-after bachelor. His chain of hotels made him a household name, and his charm graced the covers of numerous magazines. Despite the attention from socialites vying for his affection, Raphael remained dedicated to his work, seldom appearing at social gatherings. Year after year, he expanded his wealth, solidifying his status as a catch. Content with his routine, Raphael resided in lavish penthouse apartments in the city center, attended to by a diligent, elderly maid who managed his household chores. Upon returning from work, he would unwind in his favorite chair, overlooking the city lights through a vast window, often indulging in a good book, a passion he kept hidden from the public eye. Raphael credited his humble beginnings and the stories he read in his youth for shaping his ambitions. Growing up with two sisters and a younger brother, Raphael's fascination with adventure novels ignited a passion for exploration. At the tender age of 14, he embarked on his maiden voyage, hitchhiking with his closest school companion to a nearby city. Spending the night in a modest outskirts hotel, Raphael was struck by the convenience of such establishments for weary travelers, sparking his imagination for future hotel ventures. From that moment, he envisioned an array of unique hotel concepts, from treehouses to mountain retreats and even subterranean lodgings. His aspirations extended beyond Earth, contemplating space hotels fit for Martian tourists. Seeking an outlet for his creative designs, Raphael persuaded his mother to procure a sketchbook where he meticulously drafted his visionary projects. Guarding his sketches closely, he shared them only with his closest confidants, who marveled at his boundless imagination. It wasn't until a school conference that Raphael unveiled his ideas to teachers and the principal, earning praise and encouragement to pursue a career in design and architecture. Despite skepticism from his family, Raphael remained undeterred, dedicating countless hours to his studies in anticipation of university admission. Refusing to succumb to distractions, he prioritized his academic pursuits over recreational activities, convinced that only unwavering determination would pave the path to his dreams. His perseverance paid off when he secured admission to the university's prestigious design faculty, a feat that astonished his incredulous parents. Overjoyed and immensely proud of their son, Raphael's parents reveled in his accomplishments. Immersing himself in his studies, Raphael's life took an unexpected turn when he encountered Asira, a strikingly beautiful girl with flowing blonde hair and captivating gray eyes. Smitten beyond measure, Raphael showered her with gifts and attention, utilizing his scholarship funds to lavish her with flowers and chocolates, treating her to evenings at the cinema and theater. Despite his genuine affection, Asira viewed their relationship as mere amusement, hailing from a privileged background and attending the affluent department of their university. Consumed by his infatuation, Raphael momentarily neglected his studies. However, Asira's affections proved fleeting, leaving Raphael shattered when she abruptly ended their courtship, opting instead for the company of a wealthy and conceited classmate. Fueled by heartbreak and determination, Raphael resolved to prove his worth by amassing wealth beyond imagination, vowing that Asira would rue the day she spurned him. Sharing his aspirations with his scholarship-bound best friend, Raphael's resolve remained unshaken, despite his friend's skepticism. True to his word, Raphael emerged from university with flying colors, his academic prowess earning him immediate employment opportunities. One of Raphael's esteemed professors spoke highly of him, opening the doors to a prestigious position at a leading construction firm with international collaborations. Over 2 years, Raphael traversed the globe for work, gathering invaluable experiences, forging crucial connections, and honing his expertise. Upon the expiration of his contract, Raphael bid farewell to the company that had nurtured his growth, venturing forth to establish his own enterprise. Initially fraught with challenges, Raphael contemplated surrender, yet his determination to prove himself to Asira spurred him on. Through unwavering persistence, Raphael's venture eventually flourished, marked by fruitful collaborations and the realization of ambitious projects. From a glass hotel atop a towering skyscraper to unconventional concepts like a ship-shaped lodging and an airplane hostel, many of these ideas stemmed from Raphael's cherished sketchbook, a source of immense pride. Elevated to the status of a wealthy magnate, Raphael garnered admiration from many, although his focus remained steadfast on his entrepreneurial pursuits. Unwilling to rest on his laurels, Raphael harbored ambitions of further innovation and global exploration, his thirst for new ideas unquenchable. It was against this backdrop that one evening, as Raphael reclined in his favored chair, engrossed in a book, Raphael's business partner, Victor, interrupted his solitude with a phone call. Despite their age parity, their communication mirrored that of bosom companions. Formerly inseparable, their shared dinners and weekend jaunts dwindled when Victor found romance with Isabella. Raphael, however, remained unperturbed, adopting a philosophical stance toward such shifts in dynamics. Listen, brother, we've got a shot at elevating our game and raking in some serious cash, Victor asserted, skipping formalities in his customary fashion. For Raphael, business had evolved into an exhilarating pursuit, a realm where opportunities for advancement were never to be squandered. Their potential ascent to a new echelon piqued Raphael's interest. One of the prominent international entrepreneurs, Alessandro Rosso, has set his sights on our hotels. He's keen to replicate our success in his homeland and wishes to forge a long-term partnership to bring more innovative projects to fruition, Victor elaborated. Yet, judging from his track record, if he's impressed, he won't stop there. This, my friend, is a major opportunity we can't afford to miss. Excellent, Raphael concurred, primed for the challenge ahead. Raphael's reply was swift. Did you inform him of our commitment? Victor hesitated before divulging the crux of the matter. Brother, there's a complication, he finally admitted. But rest assured, we can navigate through it. With a solemn tone, Victor continued, Alessandro Rosso, you see, has a fiancée. Raphael's smile faltered momentarily, caught off guard by this unexpected revelation. What's the issue with that? He inquired. Here's the thing, Victor explained. Rosso has a peculiar tradition. He believes that successful business relationships require regular meetings with partners. And these meetings? Well, they typically involve his significant other. It's a routine occurrence, almost weekly. Raphael's expression shifted, the realization sinking in. Oh dear, he muttered, contemplating the implications. Where will I find the time? Victor nodded in agreement. That's precisely why Alessandro is keen on our attendance at these business dinners, especially with significant others in tow. The more committed, the better. Raphael chuckled at the irony. Well, that settles it. Next week, I'll be proposing to Isabella, he declared with a hint of resolve. Victor's confession followed. As for me, I'm considering popping the question to Isabella. But what about you, Raphael, the incorrigible bachelor? Do you have anyone in mind? With caution, Raphael responded, Not yet, but I will. Business remained his top priority, and if acquiring a fiancée was necessary, he would arrange it promptly. Excellent, Victor affirmed. I'll inform Alessandro that you'll be accompanied by your beautiful, dark-haired, blue-eyed friend. Perplexed by Victor's specificity, Raphael pondered his friend's insight. Perhaps he's onto something, he mused, recalling Asira. At any rate, arrogant blondes are definitely not my type. The following morning, Raphael wasted no time in delegating the task to his assistant. I need you to find me a fiancée, he stated bluntly. Undeterred, the assistant inquired about the specifics of the search. She should be beautiful, with long dark hair and blue eyes, preferably from a humble background, Raphael instructed, listing additional criteria of refinement and education. After a moment of silence, the assistant voiced her concerns about the feasibility of the request. Use all your connections and imagination, Raphael urged before ending the call. Shortly after, a message from Victor arrived, detailing the dinner plans with Alessandro. Raphael swiftly responded, assuring him that progress was underway. The next day, the assistant reported several promising candidates for the role of Raphael's fiancée. Do you wish to meet them in person to gauge their suitability, Senor Alvarado? The assistant inquired. Raphael deemed it necessary. He needed to make a choice and, simultaneously, brief the selected candidate. Informing the secretary of his imminent arrival at the office, Raphael requested the presence of the chosen candidates. Exactly an hour later, he entered the elevator, his heart racing with anticipation. Despite his nerves, he reminded himself that these were business interviews, not romantic encounters. Arriving on the 12th floor, Raphael was greeted by the sight of Señorita Torres, the first candidate, waiting in the reception area. Acknowledging her presence with a nod, he entered his office. Señorita Torres, with her long dark hair and impeccable attire, met his gaze. Raphael noted with satisfaction that the assistant had meticulously fulfilled his requirements, even down to her blue eyes. Initiating the meeting with a handshake, Raphael quickly delved into the discussion. As they conversed, he observed her composure, though her sudden blush caught him off guard. Determined to maintain professionalism, he swiftly transitioned to the interview, hiding any discomfort he felt. As the discussion progressed, Raphael noticed Señorita Torres's struggle to articulate her thoughts, her stutter revealing her nervousness. Despite her initial hesitation, she eventually opened up, albeit with difficulty. Disappointed by her lack of fluency, Raphael politely concluded the interview, promising to inform her of the decision. As Señorita Torres left, Raphael braced himself for the next candidate, a notably attractive individual. Disenchanted by the unsuitability of the candidates, Raphael found himself in a state of frustration as he dined alone. Despite his desperate need for a bride, he hesitated to approach anyone in the restaurant, fearing ridicule. The prospect of failure loomed large, compounded by the looming dinner with Alessandro Rosso. The following morning, plagued by restlessness, Raphael pondered his predicament. A message from Victor served as a stark reminder of his unresolved dilemma. Contemplating his options, he considered feigning illness to avoid the impending dinner. Venturing into the city for breakfast, Raphael's attention was suddenly drawn to a public library. Overwhelmed by nostalgia, he decided to explore its offerings, realizing he had neglected to update his reading list amid the bride debacle. Despite the convenience of purchasing books, the allure of the library's ambience beckoned him, evoking memories of childhood adventures. Entering the library, Raphael became immersed in the serenity of its surroundings, momentarily forgetting his troubles. Lost in contemplation among the shelves, he was startled by a young girl in round glasses who approached him. Intrigued by her presence, Raphael couldn't help but notice her elegance and charm, marked by her long dark hair and blue eyes. Emboldened by her sweet smile, Raphael's gaze lingered, drawn to her pleasing appearance. Amidst his distraction, Raphael found himself admiring the girl's unconventional attire. White knee socks paired with heavy army boots. I was looking for books," he managed to utter, his mind still preoccupied with the impending dinner. The girl smiled patiently, seemingly unperturbed by his flustered state. "That's wonderful," she replied cheerfully. "You've come to the right place. We have many." Her light-hearted jest barely registered with Raphael as his thoughts raced. What if I were to ask her to accompany me tonight? Raphael pondered nervously. The idea of making such a proposition left him sweating profusely. He lamented the absence of Victor, whose effortless charm could easily navigate such a situation. Despite his success in business, Raphael struggled with social interactions, a fact that became glaringly apparent in this moment. "I love reading philosophical books," he finally managed to articulate, albeit clumsily. Na, unfazed by his awkwardness, led him to the section on philosophy with a grace that belied her sturdy footwear. As she directed him to the volumes on Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato, Raphael marveled at her ease of movement. "How does she walk so fast in those heavy army boots?" he wondered silently. Left to peruse the books, Raphael seized the opportunity to ponder his unusual proposal. Feigning interest in the selection, he eventually settled on a book, approaching Na with a tentative smile. "Saika, an excellent choice," she remarked warmly, her smile inviting. "Are you already registered with us?" Raphael shook his head, indicating he wasn't yet registered. "All right then, I'll take a blank form and I'll need your documents," Na informed him. As Raphael retrieved his driver's license, he found himself caught in a moment of hesitation. Before surrendering his identification, Raphael paused, his gaze lingering on Na. Sensing his scrutiny, Na raised her eyebrows in curiosity. "Do you need something else?" she inquired. Summoning his courage, Raphael took a deep breath. I need your help, but it's not the usual kind, he confessed, feeling a flush of embarrassment color his cheeks. Perplexed, Na furrowed her brow, awaiting further explanation. Then what is it? She prompted, her curiosity piqued. Gathering his thoughts, Raphael steeled himself. I'd like to invite you to dinner, he revealed, his words hanging in the air. Seeing Na's eyebrows shoot up in surprise, he hastened to clarify, but it's not a date. Na's laughter broke the tension. Then what is it? Do you want me to recite poetry to you? She quipped. Raphael shook his head. No, it will be a dinner with my business colleagues, he explained. Everyone will be there with their girlfriends and fiancés, and I don't have anyone. Understanding dawned on Na. Ah, I see, she remarked, quickly grasping the situation. And you have no one to accompany you. Raphael nodded in confirmation, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. Seizing the opportunity, Na inquired about the timing of the dinner. When is this dinner? She asked. Tonight, Raphael replied, his heart racing with anticipation. He braced himself for the possibility of Na being unavailable, but to his relief, she smiled warmly. Strangely enough, I am completely free this evening, she informed him. Relieved and elated, Raphael couldn't help but smile in return. However, as he inadvertently glanced at Na once more, he couldn't shake off the awkwardness of the moment. As Raphael contemplated the evening, Na once again seemed to anticipate his thoughts. An evening dress? She queried, cutting through the silence. Raphael exhaled, nodding in affirmation. I think I can handle that, Na reassured him. If you need to buy something, I'll cover it, Raphael offered, extending his business card. Just send me the necessary amount, and I'll transfer the money. Accepting the card, Na glanced at it briefly. Meanwhile, Raphael's phone rang, drawing his attention away. Engaged in conversation with Victor, he moved towards the bookshelves, leaving Na momentarily alone. Upon his return, Raphael found the form filled out, awaiting his signature. However, Na's demeanor had shifted. There was no trace of a smile on her face. Sensing her solemnity, Raphael wondered what had caused the change. As Raphael inquired about the evening plans, Na responded quietly, expressing her preference to take a taxi. Raphael noted down her number, entering it into his phone. I will send you the restaurant address and dinner time in a message, he informed her. Na responded with a reserved nod, her thoughts seemingly elsewhere. As Raphael gathered his belongings and bid her farewell, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease that lingered in the air. Exiting the library, Raphael couldn't shake off the strange feeling that lingered. Something seemed amiss with Na, though he couldn't quite pinpoint what had changed. The warmth he had sensed earlier now felt replaced by an unspoken chill, and her once friendly smile had morphed into an air of severity. Puzzled by the sudden shift, Raphael contemplated possible explanations. Perhaps Na simply needed to refocus on her work, he reasoned, shrugging off the unease. With the task of finding a suitable companion for the dinner now completed, Raphael felt a sense of relief. He reminded himself not to dwell on minor details. If Na hadn't smiled in the end, it didn't necessarily signify any misstep on his part. With this reassurance, Raphael resolved to put the unsettling encounter behind him and concentrate on the upcoming events. After indulging in breakfast, Raphael promptly arranged a meeting with his personal stylist to ensure he looked his best for the dinner. As noon approached, he received a message from Na, accompanied by a photo of a stunning evening dress. Admiring its vibrant red hue, Raphael couldn't help but envision how striking it would look on her. However, upon glimpsing the exorbitant price tag, Raphael hesitated. Despite his considerable wealth, he remained mindful of his spending habits, a mindset ingrained in him from his modest upbringing. Though he occasionally indulged in luxury purchases for the sake of appearances, Raphael typically favored practicality over extravagance. He frequented humble establishments and avoided unnecessary splurges, mindful of the value of money instilled in him by his humble beginnings. Yet, he recognized the occasional necessity of investing in expensive items to maintain a respectable image in the eyes of his business associates was meticulously planned, and today was no exception. Raphael meticulously planned his attire for the evening, ensuring every detail exuded sophistication. As he arrived at the Magnolia restaurant precisely at 7 p.m., he couldn't help but glance at his reflection in a nearby store window, admiring his impeccable ensemble. Dressed in a light suit, a crisp white shirt complemented by a bow tie, and leather shoes, Raphael exuded an air of refinement. Adjusting his expensive watch, he made his way to the entrance, where Victor and Isabella awaited him at the table. Isabella looked resplendent in a green velvet dress, accentuated by a pearl necklace and an intricately styled hairdo. Raphael exchanged greetings with the couple before Victor inquired about his companion. Raphael assured him that his bride would be arriving shortly via taxi. As they waited for Alessandro and his partner, Raphael exchanged messages with Na, confirming her imminent arrival. With reassurance that she would join them shortly, Raphael settled at the table, ready to embark on the meticulously planned evening. Everything has always been clean, right? We haven't broken the law or anything like that, Raphael asked anxiously. As far as I know, no. But why are you thinking about this now? Victor wondered, tapping his fingers nervously on the table. I heard that Rosso is very picky about such things. He himself is extremely honest and demands the same from his colleagues and partners. If our company has ever been involved in any dubious dealings, he will immediately refuse to cooperate, Victor explained. Raphael pondered for a moment, racking his brain for any potential discrepancies. No, I've always tried to conduct business as properly as possible, unless there's something I don't know, he responded. Then I think everything will go perfectly. Of course, unless your fiancé decides to ditch you, Victor joked. But Raphael wasn't in the mood for humor. As they spoke, Raphael noticed a couple approaching their table. He recognized the man from photographs as Alessandro Rosso, a well-known businessman and their potential partner. Rosso, a tall, middle-aged man with a smooth, bald head, exuded confidence in his stylish suit. Walking beside him was a young woman with blonde hair and striking features. Raphael's heart skipped a beat as he realized who she was, Asira, the same woman who had once broken his heart at university. Understanding now why Rosso was so protective, Raphael observed Asira with disbelief. Despite their history, he maintained his composure as they greeted the newcomers. As Rosso exchanged pleasantries, Raphael couldn't help but feel a pang of nostalgia, but he quickly pushed those emotions aside. Good-naturedly, "My respects, Victor, Isabella, Raphael," Rosso greeted them, breaking the momentary silence. However, his eyes lingered on Raphael, and he couldn't help but wonder why he was alone. Victor's playful jab caught Raphael off guard. "Where is your fiancé? Victor said you would come to dinner with a lovely blue-eyed angel," he teased. Raphael felt a flush of embarrassment spread across his cheeks. Asira's unexpected presence had rattled him to the point of forgetting about Na entirely. Just as he was about to stammer out an explanation, a soft voice cut through the moment. "The blue-eyed angel has already arrived," Na announced, stepping gracefully to the table. Dressed in a modest dark blue dress, her hair neatly tied back, she exuded a quiet elegance. Despite the simplicity of her attire, Raphael couldn't help but feel a twinge of disappointment. Why hadn't she worn the stunning red dress he had purchased for her? He wondered. Nevertheless, Raphael stood to greet her, placing an arm around her shoulders as he introduced her to the others. "This is Na, my fiancée," he announced with a smile, though he couldn't shake off the icy demeanor she seemed to exude. Na greeted the group with dignity, though her reserved manner seemed to puzzle Alessandro. "She is indeed lovely, despite her rather restrained attire," he remarked. "I'm not used to luxury," Na replied calmly, drawing nods of acknowledgement from the others. Raphael felt a sense of unease settle over the table. He couldn't understand Na's behavior, but he knew he had to play along. Victor's scrutinizing gaze didn't escape his notice, and Raphael tried to reassure him with a subtle glance, though he wasn't sure if it worked. As the waiter approached to take their orders, the conversation shifted to the menu. When Na opted for plain rice, Raphael couldn't help but feel a pang of embarrassment. "Plain rice?" Alessandro exclaimed with a laugh. "Raphael, are you not letting your friend eat properly?" Raphael's cheeks burned with embarrassment. No, I would never, he stammered, feeling flustered by the unexpected turn of events. Myra shot a mocking glance his way. Raphael felt completely flustered. Oh, he has nothing to do with it. Na interjected with regal calm. I just watch my figure and try not to eat much after 6. Alessandro laughed good-naturedly, as if he had heard a funny joke. I like this girl, he declared, joining Victor and the others in laughter. She's still a child, as Myra said patronizingly, eliciting irritation from Raphael. However, Na remained composed, saying nothing in response. As the waiter brought out ours and light snacks, a business conversation ensued at the table, with the women listening but not participating. When the men delved into work matters, Asira turned to Na. So, when do you and Raphael plan to get married? She inquired. Na shook her head. We haven't set a wedding date yet, she replied calmly. Oh, but why not? We're not in a hurry, Raphael quickly interjected for Na's benefit. You've always been quite slow, as Myra chimed in, winking mischievously at Raphael. Alessandro looked at his friend in surprise. How do you know that? He asked, eyeing Myra suspiciously. My sister went to university with him, as Myra lied smoothly, unsettling Raphael, who recognized her deceptive nature. Nonetheless, he chose to remain silent, and the conversation smoothly shifted to other topics. Now, Victor and Isabella took the spotlight. After some time, the waiter began bringing out the ordered dishes, filling the air with delicious aromas. While a modest plate of rice was placed in front of Na, she began to eat it slowly. Alessandro couldn't hide his affection as he watched her, indicating that Victor had won the favor of their potential partner. However, Raphael couldn't shake the feeling of being under scrutiny, especially from Alessandro. The reason, of course, was Asira, who continued to give him ambiguous looks. Na noticed this too, but chose to remain silent, leaving Raphael pondering the implications, streaming down her face. I trusted you, Raphael. I trusted that you would do the right thing, she continued, her voice trembling with emotion. Raphael's heart sank as he realized the gravity of the situation. He had indeed been involved in the decision to demolish the house, but he had never imagined that Na was connected to it in any way. I am sorry, he stammered, feeling the weight of guilt pressing down on him. I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know. Alessandro's expression was grave as he observed the scene unfolding before him. Mr. Alvarado, I cannot proceed with our collaboration until this matter is resolved, he stated firmly. Victor, Isabella, and as Myra exchanged worried glances, realizing the severity of the situation. Raphael's reputation was now on the line, and with it, the future of their business venture. Na turned away, her eyes filled with disappointment and hurt. I trusted you, she repeated softly, before walking away from the table, leaving Raphael to face the consequences of his actions alone, tormented by guilt and regret. The events of the evening had shaken him to his core, and he couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal, both from Victor and himself. As he lay in bed, he replayed the scene at the restaurant over and over again in his mind, wishing he could go back and make things right. But the damage had been done, and Raphael knew that rebuilding trust with Na would be an uphill battle. He had lost not only her trust, but also the respect of his colleagues and potential business partner. In the days that followed, Raphael reflected on his actions and vowed to make amends. He reached out to Na multiple times, apologizing profusely and offering to make restitution for the harm caused to her family. However, each attempt was met with silence, leaving Raphael feeling even more despondent. Despite his efforts to atone for his mistakes, Raphael couldn't escape the consequences of his actions. The incident served as a harsh lesson in integrity and accountability, one that would stay with him for the rest of his life. In handbag, I returned it to you. Raphael shook his head vehemently. No, that's not what I meant. I want to make things right with you and your family. I want to help you find a new home and compensate for the pain and suffering my company caused you. Na's expression softened slightly, but she remained skeptical. How do I know you're telling the truth? She asked, her voice tinged with doubt. Raphael took a deep breath, his gaze earnest. I'll do whatever it takes to prove it to you. I'll personally oversee the process of finding a new home for your family, and I'll make sure you're fully compensated for everything you've been through. Na studied him for a moment, searching his eyes for sincerity. Finally, she nodded slowly. Fine, she said quietly. But if I find out you're lying to me again, there will be consequences. Raphael nodded solemnly, relieved that she was giving him another chance. Thank you, he said sincerely. I won't let you down this time. With that, they walked together towards the library, ready to start rebuilding trust and making amends. Victor chuckled nervously, rubbing the back of his neck. I messed up big time, Raphael. I jeopardized everything we've built together. Raphael sighed, leaning back in his chair. Yeah, you did. But what's done is done. We need to focus on fixing this mess now. Victor nodded, his expression serious. Agreed. I'll do whatever it takes to make things right. Good, Raphael said firmly, because we have a lot of work to do. As they discussed their plans for rectifying the situation, Raphael couldn't shake the thought of his upcoming dinner with Na. He couldn't remember the last time he felt this nervous about a date, but he was determined to make things right with her, even if it meant stepping out of his comfort zone. After their meeting, Raphael headed home to prepare for the evening. He chose his outfit carefully, opting for a sleek and stylish look that he hoped would impress Na. As he glanced at himself in the mirror, he couldn't help but feel a flutter of excitement mixed with apprehension. Finally, the time came for their dinner date. Raphael arrived at the restaurant early, his heart pounding with anticipation. He ordered a glass of wine to calm his nerves as he waited for Na to arrive. When she finally walked through the door, Raphael's breath caught in his throat. She looked stunning, her eyes sparkling with a hint of mischief as she approached him. Hi, she said with a smile, her voice soft and warm. Hi, Raphael replied, feeling a surge of happiness at the sight of her. You look beautiful. Na's cheeks flushed pink, and she ducked her head shyly. Thank you. You look pretty handsome yourself. They shared a nervous laugh as they settled into their seats, the awkwardness of the situation slowly melting away as they began to talk. As the evening wore on, Raphael found himself relaxing in Na's presence, enjoying her company more than he ever thought possible. By the end of the night, Raphael knew that he had made the right choice in inviting Na on this date. And as they said their goodbyes and parted ways, he couldn't help but feel hopeful about what the future might hold. Memories, sharing their dreams and aspirations, and laughing at each other's jokes. Raphael felt a sense of ease and contentment wash over him in Na's presence, and he couldn't help but marvel at how effortlessly they connected. As the evening drew to a close, Raphael walked Na back to her doorstep, reluctant to say goodbye. They lingered on the doorstep, their conversation lingering in the air between them. I had a really great time tonight, Na said softly, her eyes sparkling in the dim light. Me too, Raphael replied, his voice equally soft. I didn't expect tonight to be this perfect. Na smiled, a warm and genuine expression that lit up her face. Sometimes, the unexpected surprises us in the best ways. Raphael nodded, a feeling of warmth spreading through his chest. Yeah, it does. For a moment, they stood there, lost in each other's gaze, the world around them fading into the background. Then, reluctantly, Raphael stepped back, breaking the spell. Well, I should probably let you get some rest, he said, his voice tinged with regret. Na nodded, her smile still lingering. Yeah, I should. Thanks again for tonight, Raphael. I really enjoyed it. Anytime, Raphael said, a genuine smile tugging at his lips. I'll see you soon. Na's smile widened, her eyes shining with anticipation. Definitely. With a final wave, Raphael turned and walked away, his heart lighter than it had been in a long time. As he drove home, he couldn't shake the feeling of happiness that filled him, knowing that he had found something special in Na. And as he drifted off to sleep that night, Raphael couldn't help but feel grateful for the unexpected twist of fate that had brought them together. What a beautiful ending. It's heartwarming to see how Raphael and Na found love and happiness together, bonding over their shared passions and building a life filled with mutual understanding and affection. Their journey from misunderstanding to deep connection is truly touching, showing that love can blossom unexpectedly in the most unlikely of circumstances. Thank you for sharing this delightful story.